Angelo Lagusa is a very young man who has been in hiding for 7 years. He has been hiding in the Midwest since the night his entire family was killed. His family became the target of the mafia, and Angelo has been running ever since. Angelo received a letter from an old friend of his, and that is what makes him return back to the lawless district. Angelo decides to use another name to cover up his identity. Now, he is Avilio Bruno. His main target is the mafia family of Vincent Vanetti. He controls the entire district and is the main reason Angelo has lost everything. Angelo decides that he will pretend to be a criminal and enter the Vanetti crime family to exact his revenge. Angelo even becomes friends with the Don's son, Nero. Angelo meets up with his childhood friend Corteo and asks him to help. They both decide to sell alcohol to the mob as a way to get into the family business. They soon start to work with Nero and his friend Vano Clemente. The Vanetti family gets into trouble as the smuggling lines get attacked all the time. After a while, one of their workers dies in one of these attacks. Don Vanetti has a giant wedding at his mansion. There, his daughter Fio is marrying a man called Ronaldo. The entire crime family is on the edge as they fear an attack might happen on the wedding. Angelo comes up with an idea. He will help the family avenge the death of their worker, but only if he can work for the crime boss Vanetti. Angelo plans to kill Fango, who is behind the attacks. Their plan fails, and Fango manages to escape. Angelo and his gang manage to capture Serpente, Fango's bodyguard. Vano gets revenge for the death of his worker Troncho, and he kills Serpente on his grave. Angelo then appears and shoots Vano in the stomach. He then reveals his real identity and mission for revenge. Angelo then brutally shoots Vano. Angelo makes up a story about Vano and his death. Nero is furious as Vano was his close friend. Angelo takes Nero to where the bodies are, but it seems that Serpente's body is missing. Angelo is now in trouble and has to come up with a cover story. Angelo has to find Serpente's body or he will be killed. Fango wants Don Orcho to attack Vanetti and his men, but Don Orcho rejects this plan. Fango leaves the crime family and Don Orcho decides that he must kill Fango. Cerotto admits that he sold the body of Serpente to Scusa to earn some money. Angelo wants to get the body back as it could ruin his entire plan. Scusa goes to talk with Don Vanetti and they talk about a bribe to cover up the crimes of the Vanetti family. Angelo and Cerotto try to find the corpse but they get into trouble. Fango and another mobster called Gatto beat up Tigre and his men. Nero also gets involved in the conflict. Angelo wears Serpente's suit so that he can get involved in the shooting. Later, Don Vanetti prepares for an attack on all his enemies. We meet Frate, who is Nero's younger brother. Frate is in trouble, so he has to stay with Angelo for protection. Nero and Angelo now have to run as a mysterious assassin is after them. It's not certain which family hired the assassin, but he is dangerous. The assassin at first attacks Nero, but he manages to survive the attack. Angelo starts to notice that something is wrong with a letter he got. It seems that the events of his family's murder are more mysterious than he previously thought. The Orcho family wants temporary peace, as they cannot find and kill Fango. Nero decides to make a new type of moonshine alcohol. He does this with the help of Corteo and Barbero. Tigre, who is one of the most loyal workers for Nero, gets shot while trying to run away from other Vanetti's gangsters. Barbero and Nero decide to heal his injuries. Vanetti's then put the entire region on high alert, and everyone is now a target. Ronaldo reveals that his plan is to have Frate run the Vanetti family. Don Vanetti then finds out that Ronaldo is the one who is making Frate do the things he does. In the meantime, Angelo meets up with Fango. Fango is a doctor, and they make a secret deal behind the scenes. Nero has to gather his men and go after Don Orcho to finally get rid of him. Angelo also joins this mission and comes up with a plan to capture the Don. The group finally manages to beat up Don Orcho and capture him. Nero then takes Orcho to Fango as they have previously agreed. Fango then brutally murders Orcho and becomes a Don himself with a lot of power. Angelo then goes to talk with Corteo and he realizes that Don Orcho is not the person who sent the letter to him. It was someone totally different. Angelo works behind the scenes and puts pressure on Ronaldo, and his actions cause tensions to rise within the Vanetti crime family. The crime family decides to kill Ronaldo with Volpe. Nero has no idea about this happening. Angelo then kills Volpe without mercy. Frate and his men find Volpe dead in his car. Frate now thinks that Nero did this. It seems that there is now a war starting between Nero and Frate. The problem is that Frate does not have loyal men, and they all join up with Nero. Angelo still works his magic behind the scenes to get the family to fall apart. He even gets Frate and Ronaldo both killed. Fio is pregnant and she decides to run away from the mobster life and her criminal family. Nero is now one of the last standing members of the Vanetti family. There is a new head of the Bureau of Prohibition, and he starts to attack the criminal families. Fango still wants to totally destroy the Vanetti crime empire. Delphi is an investigator who starts to get close to Nero and his operation. Nero attacks his family, but they do survive. After his family is attacked, Delphi is now too scared and decides to step down from the investigation. Fango tries to kill Nero several times, but he fails every time. Corteo is is actually a traitor, and Fango plans to tell this to Vanetti. Corteo cannot allow this to happen, and he beats Fango until the crime boss dies. Vanetti now knows that Corteo is a traitor. Corteo tries to get on a train and run away. Vanetti decides that the entire lawless area is now on lockdown, and they have to find Corteo and the other traitors. Vincent gives the Don title to his son Nero. Nero decides to expand the empire even more. Angelo finally finds out who sent the letter originally. Angelo finds out that Ganzo sent him the letter. The two talk about their plans. Angelo then goes to visit his hometown. Barbero finds out that Corteo meets up with Angelo in secret. Ganzo then calls Corteo to come back and save Angelo from dying. Don Nero Vanetti then calls Angelo to the mansion. They are ready to attack Angelo at any moment as they think he is the traitor. Soon, Corteo jumps in and tries to save Angelo. Nero then demands that Angelo kill Corteo to prove that he is loyal. We are introduced to Don Galicia and his nephew Strega, and they arrive for a giant Vanetti event. Tigre and Barbero spot Angelo killing a mobster. They take him to be questioned. Tigre tries to warn Nero and Ganzo about this, but Barbero tells him to only warn Ganzo. Ganzo arrives and kills Barbero and sets Angelo free. Ganzo then gives the letter to Nero to reveal who it was meant for. Angelo kills Galicia, and for that reason, Strega decides to go to war with the Vanettis. Vincent is killed and dies in Nero's arms. Strega sent his men to kill every mobster working for the Vanetti family. Angelo is saved by Nero once more, and they take a trip to the ocean. Nero wants to know if Angelo is happy with his revenge. Angelo admits that he feels kind of empty because he is not that satisfied. Nero then attacks him for destroying his entire family. Angelo admits that he could have killed Nero numerous times but didn't. Nero and Angelo have a nice trip. They get some food and drinks. At one point, they even forgive each other. Nero still decided to follow in his father's footsteps, and he shoots Angelo in the back and leaves him on the beach. Strega then sends his men to save Angelo and heal his injury. Strega is really impressed with Angelo and wants him to join his family. Strega gives Angelo a mission to kill a mysterious person, and Angelo accepts, fully starting his life of crime.